Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to our today's webinar, which is Flowmon Roadmap 2026 and beyond, where we look at some exciting new capabilities that we plan for our Flowmon solution. My name is Filip Černý. I'm going to be your host throughout the webinar, but mainly most of the talking will be done by my colleague, Nick Vlasov, who's the head of our product management. Hi, Nick.
Hi, Philip.
And he will go through the presentation with you. Before we dive into that, let me go over some housekeeping rules. So this webinar is going to be recorded. You will receive the recording link after we finish the webinar in the email invite. We do have a dedicated time at the end of the session for questions. So if you have any questions throughout the webinar, please use the question mark panel, question mark symbol in the navigational panel to submit your questions. We will have time to answer those in the end of the webinar. For those questions that we won't have enough time to answer, we're going to respond in the follow-up email as well. I believe that's it. I hope that everyone can hear us clearly. With that, Nick, the floor is yours.
All right. Welcome, everyone. So today we'll talk about the Flowmon roadmap. And as usually, I start from the Flowmon vision. Many of you may know that Flowmon vision is not changed from the beginning when the company was founded. In general, we are still creating a secure and transparent digital environment where people control the network regardless of its complexity. And nowadays, this topic becomes more and more and more important because of their lots of the hype and lots of the things happening around AI. And from the network perspective, AI systems are way too complicated for now. Detection, the traffic, their external APIs, different API providers. This is allowed, this is not allowed, this is DeepSeek, this is OpenAI, this is Grok. And with the evolution of the cloud now, the coding become less complicated. So that means that there are many MCP servers, many people who earlier were not able to make, let's say, bad or disruptful things for the network now can do it with the MCP servers, with the direct connections to some endpoints, with data pooling through their from some systems. So that's all can be now done. And controlling your network nowadays becomes a huge challenge. And to represent it, I have the one example just there, just example you may all know, but in the complicated network, everything works smooth and the data is flying from the different directions. For example, here in there from the database and from the ticket and ordering system. And until the all packages are received correctly, that's fine. But let's imagine somebody did some wrongly understood request and starts sending the traffic to the place or to the switch which is not accepting this traffic or not expecting this traffic to come. And the whole user experience will be ruined because of this one thing in regards that the other packages would be flowing fine. So this is a hard time for network administrator usually because if it's not in direct touch with the database, it's quite complicated to track where and when it's failing. And for sure, the situations may happen that it's failing sometimes. And that's one of the features that we will see today will actually address it quite well. The one disclaimer about the roadmap in general, we are sharing the roadmap with you to give you the feeling and understanding how we see the evolution of the project, while we still leave the privilege with us that due to the market tendencies, due to internal priorities, some of the features may slip out to their different dates, not exactly as we planned it earlier. So don't take the roadmap as a commitment, but take it as a direction where the Flowmon and infra in general, progress infra is moving. Not asking you to read this slide, but this slide gives you a picture of how the releases in this year are distributed for the Flowmon. We already released the Flowmon stable and it actually gives a super nice boost in the performance of the querying and a bunch of their interesting, really exciting features. We talked a lot about them last year, so I will just briefly run through them. Then we will have the Flowmon and ADS release in Q3. Here we plan to put some features like investigations and the others that you will see over the roadmap. And in Q4, we are planning to get to evolving distributed architecture and connecting it with their Flowmon 13 engine. That would be primarily goal for this release, plus some of the features that we'll decide to put later on. And just a small recap of the few things which are noticeable in Flowmon 13. As it was released in March as stable, you will see the really huge performance jump. So the querying here is shown that Flowmon 12 and Flowmon 13 difference in querying top 10 IPs by bytes, top 10 IP sorted list flows. So you can see this comparison, and when we were preparing it, I honestly was very strict with the guys who were doing the numbers so we can show something reliable. So sometimes you can see up to 7x, sometimes you can even see up to 10x, but we didn't put it here because there is a low number of cases where it goes beyond like 8 or 9x. So expect you to enjoy this part. And the feature which I started talking about this, the Flowmon investigations. This is quite simple looking feature with a quite powerful potential for your use cases. This feature allows you to basically tackle all the steps that you are now doing in your analysis as a steps, drilling the data in the Flowmon. So you first look through some general criteria, then you go narrow, narrow, narrow. And this feature allows you to visualize it and also to make their options, like it can be on the port 80 or it can be on the port 23, and then you can look separately on these parts of data. And what it helps you with is that this feature allows you to save this investigation and repeat it later, not to go to the previous results, not to try to remember how you did it. And if you went for vacation or you're not at the place, you can always tell your colleague what their investigation is there, and they will run exactly the same investigation as you would, and will get the result that will help most likely them to solve the issues which you already was dealing with. So this investigations is powerful, and we will be talking about this more as we go to the roadmap. The bunch of the new protocols has been added for monitoring from the OT and from the OT space. This is Modbus, Siemens protocol, DNP3, MQTT, and in general, I want to put a line on the OT monitoring for the Flowmon. We just had this discussion like a few hours before. The Flowmon is monitoring any OT environment if it is IP based. And we even check that on the level 2, where basically it works as well. So that's a fundamental understanding where Flowmon can do OT monitoring and where not. So we can't show the pressure in the boiler, or we can't show some specific data in technical protocols not related to the network. But if this environment is basically IP-based or the MAC address-based, so that's the moment where Flowmon can shine, and there is no need of extra sensors. You'll just plug in the Flowmon probe there, and it will be monitoring the same as an IT environment with no issues, and will be giving you insights into your performance and security situation in this environment. That's talking about security. We actually added extra methods for these particular protocols, but we are not limiting the Flowmon just on them. So you will see, and we'll have this in Flowmon 13 already. Plus, Flowmon 13 has increased the performance of the ADS UI. So now the pages in ADS UI are loading, I would say, significantly from up to 7 to up to 33 times faster. Their Flowmon NPMD roadmap. So that Flowmon 13 has already been released, as I told. And the one important moment that this year we changed the approach on the releasing. We are releasing now in a format of the rollout. So some of the customers get the Flowmon package faster. Some of them get the package a bit later. So don't be surprised that you still don't see the Flowmon in your update page. You will get it at the moment when the term will come. And the first, yeah,
Sorry, Nick, to interrupt you. I see that now more people have joined, so I just want to remind everyone that if you have any questions throughout the webinar, just submit your questions through in the question mark navigational panel icon, and we will get to it at the end of the webinar. Sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to mention that also
right now that's
the
fine.
Flowmon and PMD part is basically our way of covering the monitoring part of the Flowmon solution, and the other is the security, therefore Flowmon ADS, right?
Yeah, that's fair. So for network performance monitoring, the first feature in the roadmap is so-called Sankey diagram. Using this Sankey diagram, you can see basically any issues faster and in interactive here, because you can understand their mapping, who talks to whom and how much, just from visual understanding. Earlier, there were like the other types of the visualization while we were looking at this, and this one looks the fastest to consume, which is very significant for the customers. Sometimes people say to me that, okay, it saves me like 10 seconds of the time, but as much as you work in the Flowmon, like 10 seconds now, 10 seconds later, and over the week, it can be a bunch of hours save time, which is significant for network admins and the people who work in this area. The second feature is about the evolution of these automated investigations. Sorry, like just evolution of the investigations into automated ones. This exactly feature says about the ability to schedule the investigation and run it in exactly some time. Usually, or not usually, sometimes there issues happen over the night, and you don't want to sit there and wait for it. So then you just schedule it, and in the given time frame, it has started, and then you have the analysis in the morning. And we will have their third one layer of the feature, which we'll come to. But this one is about scheduling it, and this gives another, let's say, angle on the investigations. Applications labeling across the whole Flowmon. For the people who are familiar with the Flowmon, you most likely know that their application labeling is working in ADS for now like quite a long time. While this feature is about that we want to scale their understanding of what application stays behind the IP for the whole Flowmon. So people now who are using just Flowmon monitoring center can see the applications as well, and this feature is really helping to save a lot of time. So you can identify the specific applications, like here on the picture, like Microsoft, Google services, Slack. As for example, you will be able to understand that someone is downloading their updates from, like, not from internal Microsoft Windows Microsoft Update Server, but from external, and you basically will be able to see it visually in a seconds instead of trying to drill into who is standing behind this IP by yourself or using whois or something like this. And the big feature, but important for quite a lot of customers that we have, the distributed architecture I mentioned. For those who are new with Flowmon or haven't used it yet, this is feature for their bigger environments, for like enterprise scale, uh, where the customers need, um, let's say, not only probes like our sensors, but multiple collectors, multiple like main systems which are collecting the data and are able to provide the visibility into this each of the segments, and then they're pulling the data even higher to their so-called main collector where the all data is aggregated. So the feature is about connecting their new Flowmon 13 engine, which is now working in Flowmon 13 to this particular setup. And this feature is goes after the Flowmon 13 itself because it's quite a significant part of work, and we um, want to be sure that there's like around zero issues left in the Flowmon 13 as well when we come to this super big part of their Flowmon architecture, let's say. Flowmon NDR, network detection and response. So this is our security area. Thanks for Philip for pulling me. Sometimes I just use this term and I'm so get used to it. Uh, the first feature here is a feature. There nowadays there are many AI tools are coming in the market. There are lots of news and lots of hype about AI. While in Flowmon we are trying to build the reliable AI, the approach which leads us to build the features and capabilities which you can really rely on. So that means that we narrow down their AI, let's say, functions and features to the extent of just needed, but it reduces the number of hallucinations, the number of unexpected behavior. And at this moment, you can precisely use the feature for a given purpose. And this given purpose here is drilling your data via basic common language as you use with ChatGPT or the other LLM type approaches or chatbots. The idea is that you can ask what you need in a simple words, and their Flowmon or this AI assistant will drill the data and make you the report based on your request. And then you can have two options. Either you will adjust a bit this report manually based on what you want there, or you can ask the other message like basically the current flow in any this type of the solutions. So you will say, I don't like this, I need this column, I need this filtering, and it will do it for you. And after that, you can save this. You can save this report and use among your reports. Essentially, this feature will be available under ADS, but later we will scale it up for the whole Flowmon. So that's why I particularly show it here in the security area space. The other thing of this feature is that you would be able to ask about the data, what you see in the screen. And this one still, we are like heavily considering how to implement it accurately because um, not to expose any sensitive data outside your appliances, because all the features that we are doing, the main criteria for those not to send any sensitive data outside of the customer's appliance. So we have their algorithms and basically approaches which allow us um, to achieve it. And with this given feature, we are getting to let's say achieve it as well. As of now, we're like 80% on the way. Pull historical reports, yeah, just type in what you need. That's what exactly I explained. The other part, except of AI, of their life with people who have Flowmon anomaly detection system is tuning it. After the sales engineers help you to tune, Sometimes customers face challenges that they need to improve their system by themselves, and by that saying, they need to improve either filters or they need to improve the false positives detections because of some new systems, legitimate systems, and they just need to go through this tuning again and again. Now there are two features in Fly. The first one is assisted filter tuning. It's just like cuts the routine uh, of you doing these optimizations by suggesting you how to do it, and you just approve it. That's again why we keep not deciding for you. We just try to simplify the life of the customers in this area, to be able just to tune it with one button and go ahead. And obviously for the essential configuration, it will save some time for you, as you won't be basically doing it. And the second one is maybe a bit stronger feature, but this feature shows there um, how that, let's say, we will have the engine there, which will look at the all events and will suggest you what are potentially their false positives or legit for now, and will suggest you the improvements of your methods, so basically tuning of the detections, and also will show how many events are reduced by this now suggestion. So that means that if you have like the 3000 detections in your system, and this new feature will suggest you to tune the detection, that will decrease the number of events you have to go through, maybe like by 20%, maybe by half, depending on the environment. And you will do it with just like one button as earlier, approving it and getting things done. So when it's useful, because you can say that, okay, there the sales engineer which was helping to configure my system, as we usually do, helps with this tuning essentially. But later on, that's where it will be useful. Later on, when you will be installing new systems, adding the new parts of your network infrastructure or modifying the existing one, you need to do this tuning from time to time by yourself. And that's where it will be valuable for the customers uh, quite strongly. The feature, as good example of their feature which is slipped from their last year roadmap, is shared filters. It's quite easy that in ADS, in anomaly detection system, now we can do their filters labeling. Basically, we can set a bunch of the IPs as a simple filter, and in Flowmon Monitoring Center, that feature will appear soon to make consistent across their whole Flowmon setup, and you will get their feature. Basically, you can use the same filters in Flowmon ADS and FMC and the opposite one. So that should save quite a lot of time on the regular basis of the network engineers and SecOp teams. And I see it is very small, but I see it as a point of connection. So basically, the SecOps team can start giving you the tickets or instructions or requests, um, pointing the exact filters, and that will simplify the life of the both teams. So one more feature, which is labeled as AI, and it's actually quite an interesting one. When we were, the story of it, when we were designing the feature itself, the point was that we were talking with the network engineers and security specialists about their flow, how they work, and the workflow around this, how they explain their issues to their higher management and so on. And we figured out that the most complicated thing for the people is just to sit and write this in their meaningful words, what happened, when happened, why happened, what it was involved in, and then send it to some manager or to some agency in this type of their explanation. And then we decided that, but this is so easy now with the evolution of the large language models, that we can basically bring this a summary. It takes all the data in Flowmon anomaly detection system event. So your IPs, when it happened, what are the evidences, and so on. And it places it in their quite simple human readable words, um, both with a small visualization. So you can find out their use case for it. Also in the security operational centers or in the teams where there is a split between highly skilled people and less skilled people. So that's less skilled people can be reading these events and understanding quite better just than from looking at the numbers or the criterias on their screen above. And the last use case where it is fairly usable, where the network engineers or the network admins are put in charge of the security related activities, and they have to handle it with less knowledge about security than they basically need. It really simplifies their life. Just read it through. By saying it, I move into their feature again about the investigations, and that's the moment where we plan that investigations will get their full, let's say, power, because this is automatically triggered forensic investigations in our case. Let's imagine you have some issue in the security space or even in network performance and monitoring space, which is purely appearing in random time, in random shape, and it's hard to basically catch it, but it has some criterias which you can describe, and that's exactly where the automatically triggered forensic these investigations can really be useful, because you can tackle their scenario, and as soon as these criterias will happen, the investigations will be triggered. So at the moment when the event will be completed, or this, let's say, the issue you are trying to nail down will appear, you will have the full investigation as you wanted, and most likely from this investigation you will understand, why it's happening, and will be able to resolve it, which is really cool. So uh, save time. Yeah, that's all I mentioned here. And the last one feature is collaborative AI threat detection. So let's imagine the one customer has been attacked by their IP from the Thailand, and he investigated this IP. He put it IP to be blocked on the firewall, and he solved the issue. But what if the information about that this IP is suspicious and attacking their customer is being spread over all our customers? So that means that the rest of the security engineers should not even spend the time on this. They will know from the beginning that this IP is suspicious, and potentially it will be blocked just by your rules, which pull from the Flowmon the data. So this is a fundamental, interesting feature. It's quite challenging, but it is about sharing the intel of who is attacking our customers across the other customers. For sure, I should mention that we are not sending any of the internal IPs, and at the current implementation, we don't even know which customer it is, or which customer has been attacked by this IP address. We just, the intel we have is just that this IP, external IP address, is attacking. So that's information we will be spreading across the other environments, customers' environments, and I still feel it's a great feature, sharing their information.